Live from the BiffNet Studios World Headquarters in Spring, Texas, it's Barry on Deck, hosted by former ESPN Houston radio host and stand-up comedian Barry Laminack, starring Oliver the Cat. Written by Barry Laminack, produced by Barry Laminack, directed by, you guessed it, Barry Laminack, featuring sports, entertainment, special guests, film sessions, and some drinking. Okay, a lot of drinking. Viewer discretion is advised. And now, here's your host, Barry Laminack.
Oh, what's up, you damn dirty deckheads? Welcome to Barry on Deck. I am your host, Barry Laminack. Thank you guys for being here. Today is Wednesday. I almost said February. April 3rd, 2024. Jeez. And this is episode number 771 of Barry on Deck. Hey, happy road to the AFC Championship. The march starts now. You know what am I doing? Oh, I don't think I have it in here. I was gonna get my Texans hat. Shit. Should get my Texans hat and put it on. I'm all in. Loving these Texans. Let's go! Hey, what up, Battlezor? Hey, baby! Any news out of the Texans camp? Anything going on? Anything big? Holy shit, the news is broke. Your boy is giddy. We're going to talk about it. I reached out to my guy, Jerome Solomon. He's going to be joining me on the program between 4 and 4:30. Jerome Solomon, senior columnist of the Houston Chronicle, who covers the Houston Texans and beyond, but does quite a bit for the Chronicle, covering the Houston Texans. So he's going to join me on this fine, fair program, and we're going to talk. What does this trade mean for the Texans? Of course, I'm going to get into it now. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to talk you and I, but then I'm going to bring in Jerome to, give his 2 pennies and discuss as well. So, we'll get hot and heavy into it. Plenty of it on the agenda today, but fear not, we will talk other things as well. I know some of you don't give a shit about the Texans. You don't care, and that's okay. It's fine by me. You don't give a shit. That's all right. You don't have to. You're a fan of another team, and that's okay. We do have a majority of our listeners out of the Houston area, but we're going to talk about it because it's a big damn deal. It's a big damn deal in sports in general. So it's a blockbuster trade, and we're going to get into it. Apologize. I haven't been this late in a really long time. Like a really long time. This was an extreme amount of lateness, and I just don't have a good excuse. I'm just dealing, okay? I'm kind of just making shit happen as best I can. What is this? Sorry, I have to. Okay, that's a bunch of nonsense and tomfoolery. I got to keep my alerts on so when Jerome hits me up, I can know where to send the link. Yeah, so, your boy's just dealing as best he can deal. And shit got out of hand and got away from me. So, yeah, just doing the best I can. And shit got way away from me today. And what's really crazy is normally today I would have been going to the studio and shooting the TV show. Didn't do that. And was way later. Oh my goodness, do we have a Brian Pettit sighting? Holy shish kebabs. Look at that. Hadn't seen from that man in a hot minute. Jerome said, text please, have to do video. Yeah, it is a video show. Jerome said, do we have to do a video? Yes, man, it's a video show. Jeez Louise. Come on, Jerome. Get your shit together. What's up, D-Mod? Good to see you, man. What's up, Brandon Streeter? Everybody popping in. We got a Brian Pettit sighting. Everything's good. Hey, Homo Astros fan, thank you for the 100 bits. So we got a lot to get to. We still have stuff on the agenda that I have not gotten to yet this week that I have already made the slides for, including we still haven't gone through all of the Final Four logos. I wanted to take a look at those. Like, look at this. Look, just real quick. Look. Pew! What? Pew! What? Pew! What? Pew! What? Yeah. So we need to go through those and look it all up. And we can do that too, Nasty Nate. Shit, and all of the hurriedness to do that, we can certainly look into the Texans Super Bowl odds as well. And just remind me when we get to it. But of course, we're going to kick that off. I also had a really cool I found a really cool article where somebody broke down on The Athletic history of drafting QBs in the top 10 and how they end up faring, like star versus starter and, you know, major reach or major bust and all that. It was quite fascinating, actually, once you get out of that number one spot. Like if you draft a QB at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 versus 1. So we can get into that as well. I got some other stuff, but you guys don't give a shit about that. You don't care about that. You care about the big news of the day, and we're going to talk about it, so let's get to it. All right, here is your big headlines for the day. Let's start in reverse order. I know I have the Diggs trade number 1. But I'm going to flip it on you. Let's start with this because this is a big deal. And this is why I put this on here. This is actually a big deal. But voters in Kansas City, and I think they call it Jackson County, voters in Jackson County, Missouri, have rejected a stadium tax. Chris, I'm saying you said Johnson County. It says Jackson County on this article on ESPN. I could be wrong. What up, Alec? Good to see you, buddy. Final Four will play in the NFL Stadium in Phoenix. Thank you, Ian. Very appreciate you, buddy. Oh, okay. So yeah, Jackson County, Missouri. They shot down a proposal, I guess, for a stadium tax that would have raised money to not only renovate Arrowhead Stadium, but would have, I'll just read you what it says. The future of the Royals and Chiefs in Kansas City was thrown into question Tuesday when residents of Jackson County, Missouri, I just like saying it like that, resoundingly voted down a sales tax measure that would have helped to fund a new downtown ballpark, along with major renovations to Arrowhead Stadium. The two owners acknowledged long before the final tally that the initiative would fail. More than 58% of voters ultimately rejected the plan, which would have replaced replaced 3/8 of a cent sales tax that has been paying for the upkeep of Truman Sports Complex. They named a sports complex after me because I'm so famous. The home for more than 50 years to Kauffman and Arrowhead Stadiums, with a similar tax that would have been in place for the next 40 years. The Royals would have, who had pledged at least $1 billion from ownership for the project, wanted to use their share of the tax revenue to help fund a $2 billion plus ballpark district. Chiefs who had committed $300 million in private money, would have used their share as part of an $800 million overhaul of Arrowhead Stadium. Hey, look. A similar thing happened here in Houston, if you recall. This is how the city lost the Oilers. This is how we lost the Oilers. They were like, huh? You know what? Yeah, we'd rather spend our money on other shit. I mean, you think about it right now, this city, the city of Houston, we're in disarray. I don't live in the city. I live outside in the suburbs, but the city of Houston's in disarray. Yeah, Brian Pettis said that's crazy and a lot of money. It is a ton of money. $1 billion, $2 billion in the ballpark district, $800 million to overhaul Arrowhead Stadium. You know how much money a city could do with that? You could pay police departments. You could pay fire departments. You could, homeless shelters, the food bank, fix potholes. And there's just so much you could do with that money. And then what happens is, and this is where if you start to think about it logically, then you go, well, if you build these stadiums, then all they're going to do is just raise ticket prices to pay the owners and the players. So really, you're paying a higher tax, and ultimately you're going to be paying more for the games. It's kind of sucks. And the question becomes, hey, look, at the same time, well, you need to remember something. Hold on. Let me do something here. I'm going to Google something here. So, you got to remember when you do these things, sometimes you can benefit. Right? Like if you're Kansas City, you could get an all-star game. And that could generate revenue for your city. And that's how you recoup some of that money, right? So I don't know if you get a Super Bowl in Kansas City necessarily. But but some of that you can recoup some of the money. Not saying you get a Super Bowl, but yeah, I mean, you get playoff games and that generates money and whatnot, but it does generate some revenue for the city. But this says, like, for example, the Super Bowl added that Super Bowl economics impact has been largely exaggerated, with the game likely only generating about $150 million in net direct income to residents. So $150 million in net direct income. Is that worth it? You'd have to have, if you're spending $800 million on a stadium, you'd have to have a lot of Super Bowls to make up for it. By the time you broke even, it'd be time to build a new one. So I don't know. I understand it. But at the end of the day, when you lose your teams, then you're bitching. We don't want no sports. No one takes us serious. Well, you had a chance. You had a chance to be a big boy city. You chose not to. And I don't blame cities that vote against the taxes. I really don't. I do not blame cities that say, nah, we'd rather spend our money on other shit. I get that. I totally get that. I understand it, and it makes a ton of sense, and it's the mature, rational, adult thing to do. I get it. So it doesn't bother me. Yes, Christmas Sam used to said in February in Missouri, Super Bowl will be a disaster. I don't know why they just don't build dome stadiums in every city above, a certain, above Dallas. Just draw a line. Anything above, a certain, where you just know it's going to be dead ass cold in the winter. Just put domes on everything. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. What's up, Eggerson Des? Why do we always have to pay stadiums and still have to pay some crazy ass prices to go to the games? It's wild. It is wild. It is crazy. It's the cost of doing business, as they say. It is crazy to think, though, sports and sports is really it's one of the few businesses where the customer pays for the business's brick and mortar. Could you imagine? Let's just I'm going to put this into words that you guys would, it might make sense. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if a strip club? No, that's a bad idea because you guys would all be like, okay, I'm in. That's a bad idea. Could you imagine if a McDonald's was like, hey, we want to put a McDonald's in the front of your neighborhood? You'd be like, well, that's convenient. I don't have to drive clear across town to get a hamburger. And you're like, yeah, that would be convenient, right? I said strip club, and Cece goes, I miss Ivan. Me too. Ivan's such a sweetheart. FJ said, did I hear strippers? I mean, what's up, FJ? But yeah, so McDonald's is like, hey, we want to put a McDonald's in the front of your neighborhood. So you don't even have to leave you just drive right up. You're like, okay, cool. They're like, but we're going to want you to pay for the building. I'm sorry, what? Yeah. You pay for the building, and then we're going to move in, and we're going to charge you to park to come and eat, and then we're going to charge you to get in, and then we're going to charge you crazy amounts of money to eat. Okay, it's just going to be wild. Yeah. And then, if your kids want to play in the ball pit, that's extra money. You're going to have to pay for that. Everything's going to be a fee, and it's not going to be just normal prices. It's going to be ridiculous prices, but it's right there in the neighborhood. No other business does that. No other business does this. It's pretty wild. It's pretty crazy when you think about it. So, well, at least we don't have to listen to folks in Kansas City talk shit much longer. You better live it up, folks. FJ said, yep, sounds like a strip club. A little bit, right? Battlezor says, sounds like a HOA. Little bit, yeah, kind of. What's up, Pierre and Dizzle? You should get a better price of admission based on your address. That's true. That's not a bad idea. That's really not a bad idea. You know what I mean? And, like, if you don't live in the city... Like, if you live in the city and you pay city taxes, then you shouldn't have to pay as much as us outside of the city folk who aren't having to pay all of those taxes all the time. Now, a lot of us live and work in the city, so we still are paying some of those taxes, sales tax and whatnot. But, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it could be, you could be onto something there. P. Randy is. What's up, Joe Pro? Good to see you, buddy. What did I even say? Because Kansas City didn't no money. Okay. Alex said, would the NFL rather play a Super Bowl in open air Snow City or Dome Stadium in Florida? Yeah. Dome Stadium in Florida. What's up, Amos? Amos said the Superdome is being renovated. The state owns the stadium and they pay state taxes already. So I doubt if they even ask residents for approval. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. So the state owns the Superdome. So do they make all the money off of the games and shit? And do the Saints rent the Superdome from the state? How does that work? That's interesting. That's real interesting. I'll be damned. I'll be damned. Pierre and Dill said, those are the same folks that shoot at each other at a happy ass Super Bowl parade. Yeah. Yes, sir, Bob. Yes, sir, Bob. All right. Big news of the day. Let's get to it. Oh, I got to send hold on. I have to send I got to send the link to Rome. Oh, when was that? Oh, that was yesterday. Oh, not yesterday. That was Monday. 65. That's Romy. Okay. Control C. I thought there was a way to connect it to my phone, my iPhone, from here. I guess not. I guess not, sir. I guess not, sir. I'll just email it to myself. Oh, I can go to iCloud Notes. Who's fancy? New note. Oh, I don't need a new note. I'll just post it on my set list from last night's show. Y'all missed a doozy of a show. It was fun. Hey, it was a hoot at the secret group. Oh, it's not even synced yet. Sync, bitch. Sync, you dirty whore. All right, this should sync up in a minute. All right, let's talk the trade. Really, the parish doesn't own the Superdome. Yeah, I guess not. That's a crappy as an old person having to pay school taxes. Don't get me started, P. Randizzle. Do not get me started on that. I swear to God. What's up, Jeff Bell? Good to see you, buddy. Do not get me started on paying school taxes for kids that I don't have or own. I mean, you don't own kids, but don't get me started on that bullshit. Oh my God. Don't even get me all worked up and riled up. Hey, shout out to everybody, by the way, over there listening on the tube over on YouTube. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Also to everybody listening on Twitch. Appreciate you guys as well. All right. Let's get to it, man. Let's talk about the YouTubes. Jesus Christ. Okay, copy link. Hold on. Here you go. Whoop. This is for Jerome to connect. Whoop. By the way, you can catch me tonight, Fox 26. Did it not go through? Whoop. Yes, it did. Okay. Catch me tonight, Fox 26. I will be on the Isaiah Factor. Talking. Oh, don't start that shit, Alex. It's all the same. Okay? Don't start that Twitch greater than YouTube nonsense. It's all the same. I love all of my children the same. Okay? All of them. I do agree with the whole fuck them kids thing, though. All right, let's talk about it. This is humongous deal. Humongous trade going down. The Texans are trading for Stefon Diggs. Huge deal. Huge news. I, for one, I could not be more excited about this whole deal. Okay? I could not be more excited about this whole deal. This trade is exactly what I have been clamoring for. And you guys, if you've been watching this show for any length of time, if you've been following me for any length of time during this offseason, you know what is the one thing that I have been saying. I've said it when Josh and I were on the patio. I've said it on Game On when we do our show on ESPN 97.5 here in Houston. I've said it on the TV show on Sports Saturday with Jerome on CW39. I have said it on this show over and over and over. I wanted them to go out and get a true number one for CJ Stroud. I'm not saying that Nico can't be a true one. I'm not saying that Tank maybe couldn't be a true one. What I'm saying is at this point in their career, I don't trust either of them to be a true one, and I really felt like what this offense needed was an honest-to-God, upper echelon, true number one receiver. And they went out and they did it. And now, when you look at this receiving core, when you look at this team, not only do they have a true one in the receivers room, they have a true one on the field. And you think about what this offense did with Nico Collins and Tank Dell and even Dalton Schultz. Now you throw Stefon Diggs in the mix. And who do you cover? Oh, wait. You still got Joe Mixon to contend with as well. They've added Joe Mixon to this offense. They're going to be better in the run game. They're going to be better in the pass game. This is insane. You're going to have to I mean, do you double Stefon Diggs? Do you double Nico Collins? Pick your poison. This is exactly the move that I wanted this team to make for this very reason. Who are you going to cover? Who are you going to leave in single coverage? Because think about this. When you're facing the Sauce Gardners of the world, some of the best corners, the young corners, or even the best corners in the NFL, great. They're going to take that guy and put him on Stefon Diggs. That's great because that's what you want. And maybe some people don't think that Stefon Diggs is still a true one or an upper echelon receiver. A lot of folks think maybe he's lost a step or he's fallen off a bit. Great. Fine. Think that. Then take your best corner and put him on Nico Collins. I welcome that. Please do. So that Stefon Diggs can eat up your second best corner. I'd love to see that. So that Tank Dell could eat up your nickel corner. I'd love to see that. So that Dalton Schultz now is one-on-one with a linebacker. Yes, please. So that Joe Mixon is also one-on-one with a line. Oh my God. Yes. This is what you wanted. This is the exact reason why you wanted to go out and get an honest and true number one receiver. And this is exactly what they did. This is exactly what they did. Oh, Andy just canceled on me. Well, damn. He said tomorrow. I was like, it'll be old news by then. This is breaking news, bro. This is breaking news. CC said, then I shall cancel Jerome. I says, do you think they are a playoff team? Oh, yes. Think about this, Brian Pettit. They were a playoff team this year. They were a playoff team this year with no Tank Dell down the stretch. You know, like, yes. P. Randizzle. 713-780 ESPN 713-780. PP Dub said can't throw it to the other players. Diggs will start crying about it. No. And that's the thing he said. I mean, dude is 30, coming off one of his worst statistical season in 4 years. Yeah. We're going to look at it and we're going to delve into that and we're going to figure out why that is. Okay. We're going to get into some of that, Nate, because I get what you're saying. All right. I understand what you're saying, but I want you to understand that, you know, there is some concern about that, but also, hey man, Sometimes this is the moment that you go for it. And then we're going to look at what the Texans gave up for him. And it's not like they mortgaged the farm in the future to go out and get Stefon Diggs. Like, as a matter of fact, let's just look at it. Of course your boy made slides. Of course I've got a beautiful slides for you guys to look at. What? Come on now. You didn't think I started this show 30 minutes late just for you to look at my stupid ass face the whole time. I mean, I thought I'd have a guest for you again 3 days in a row, but you know, sometimes they do cancel. Here you go. Texans trading for Stefon Diggs. Here was his 2023 season. All right. 2023 season for Stefon Diggs. He had 1,183 yards. He averaged 11.1 yards per catch, 8 touchdowns. He had 107 receptions. This is a go for it moment. The Texans are absolutely all in and going for it. Okay. They gave up a second round pick in 2025. And that was from Minnesota. So they gave up Minnesota's second round pick in 2025. A pick that they got from Minnesota in a trade. That's who they gave that up. Okay. They gave up a sixth round pick this year in this year's draft. So they gave up pick number 189. And then they gave up a fifth round pick in next year's draft. I'm sorry, but that's not a lot for a guy still considered an upper echelon receiver in the NFL. You didn't give up a ton. A second round pick is a pretty decent pick. Okay. That's a decent pick. It is true. Hey, look, that's a good haul for the Bills. But the Bills gave up a 1 to get Diggs, who turned into be Justin Jefferson for the Vikings. So let me do two things here. I'm gonna pull up Stefon Diggs, his stats, and then I'm gonna pull up all of the stats for the NFL. Let's go receiving yards. All right. So here is Diggs over the last few years. And then again, true indeed, statistically, it was not his best year. Let's see stats. There we go. So again, his first 5 seasons in Minnesota, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 720, 903, 849. He played in 13, 14. And then he played in 15 games where he caught 1,000 yards and had 1,000 yards. And then he went to Buffalo. And he spent the last 4 seasons in Buffalo playing with Josh Allen. And he and Josh Allen really had a connection. They had chemistry. And he kind of came into his own. And he became a legitimate threat, right? And this is about the time, like if he's 30 now, so he was 30 this season, so 29, 28, 27. And that's really when athletes physically kind of peak around the age of 27, 28. That's when guys or athletes physically peak, especially like baseball. But, you know, most guys will physically peak around 26, 27, 28-ish. It's not a hard and fast rule, but it's usually the case. So he had, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit for you guys. I know sometimes it can be hard to see. He had 1,500 yards his first year in Buffalo. 1225. And then, by the way, 8 touchdowns. Yeah, 8 titties the first year. 10 titties with 1225. 11 titties with 1,429 yards. And then 8 titties and 1,183 yards. Played in all 17 games. So he's been durable the last 4 years in Buffalo. 16, 17, 16, 17. 103, 127, 103, 108, 107. Okay? Joe Bro said, I hope I peak it up at 44 because I damn sure haven't peaked yet. There you go, buddy. Jeff Bell said that's a steal. Yeah. What they gave up for him? Well, they gave up a second round pick for all intents and purposes. I mean, what's a 5th and a 6th going to net you? That nets you backup depth at best and maybe a special teams player. That's what they gave up for a flyer. A chance over the next 4 years or whatever it is ends up being for taking a shot while CJ Stroud still has his rookie contract. I mean, it's a no-brainer, really. It's just absolutely a no-brainer. And I'm also going to pull up his contract and we'll see what he's got left on it. So, Sean said he's a pain in the ass, though. Not sure I'd want that around my young QB. Well, here's the one thing, and that's a good point. Everybody says, well, if you don't throw him the ball, he's going to complain. Okay. I want to remind you guys of something. I'm putting a marker on this because this might be, This might be a clippable moment. This is how I have to live my life now. I do want to remind you of something that was actually said on this show by Indy Kalu out on the patio. And it kind of speaks to, I think, why the Texans felt comfortable making this move for Stefon Diggs. He can be, as Sean said, yeah, he could be known to be a pain in the ass. Give me the ball, right? He can be kind of a Keyshawn Johnson kind of guy. Throw me the damn ball. I want the ball. Every wide receiver can kind of be like that. Every wide receiver has a little bit of diva in them, right? But the thing is this. If you're going to have a guy who's got a bit of an attitude problem, you have the perfect coach in place to deal with him. DeMeco Ryans is the perfect leader. He is the perfect man. He is the perfect person to be able to handle, deal with, and put up with whatever diva attitude a wide receiver such as Stefon Diggs is going to bring to this team. A diva wide receiver in the NFL is nothing new, guys. That's been around for ages. All of the best wide receivers are divas. They always have been. The good news is the Texans actually have a head coach in place that knows how to operate with it and can deal with it. This isn't Bill O'Brien, where he's just going to lose his shit and then trade him to Arizona for a bottle of water like they did DeAndre Hopkins. And get back old whistle britches. David, whatever the hell. God, that was such a terrible. This is a different team. This is a different infrastructure within the organization. This is a different front office. They are equipped to deal with a guy like Stefon Diggs. Okay? This isn't the old Texans. So that's why this move, I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that. Think about it this way. Okay? I want all you Texans fans, because y'all know me. I'm a jaded Texans fan. I'm always like, oh God, here goes. They're going to shit the bed. Oh, what's going to happen? Something bad's going to happen. But I want you to think about it in this context, okay? There are some teams and there are some coaches that if you sent a problem child player to that team, to that organization, and under that coach, you'd be like, oh, that's going to end poorly. That's going to go bad, right? It's not going to go well. Hey, I know. Ask Jeff Bell about that. Ask Jeff Bell how it went out in Denver with old Sean Payton and old Rusty Russ Wilson. Huh? Ask him that. Think about this. Do you think folks in Pittsburgh would be concerned if the Steelers happened to pull off a trade and landed Stefon Diggs? You think they'd be like, oh, he's got an attitude. How are they ever going to deal with that? They'd be like, whatever. Mike Tomlin's got that. They ain't even worried about that. Attitude, shit. That ain't nothing. Mike Tomlin will handle that, no problem. And I think that this fan base has to start thinking in those kind of terms, because that's the kind of man and that's the kind of coach that DeMeco Ryans is. And I say that, and I'll go back to what my original point was. I say that because on this very show, out on that patio, I had Indy Kalu sitting in a chair, smoking a cigar with me. And you folks will remember, he said on this very show that DeMeco Ryans, as a rookie in the huddle, he was the only person that Indy Kalu, he was the only rookie Indy Kalu ever called sir. He commands that kind of respect. He's just that kind of natural born leader. And it is that kind of leader that you can fade a wide receiver diva in the NFL. So I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried about a fall off in production because of age and losing a step. That's a real concern. Okay, that is not something I'm just going to be like, Like, that's something you absolutely should be worried about. That is something that is a real concern. But you know what? It's not like you gave up a 1 and a 2 and a 5 to get him, and then you're like, oh, shit. We just mortgaged our future, and this dude went out and got 400 yards. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I get that, Alex. Age is undefeated. Absolutely. No, there's no doubt about that. But at 30, again, what you have a veteran receiver who still commands respect in this league. Those numbers I showed you, that's not Robert Woods, okay? That's not the rest of the NFL going, I mean, we'll throw a safety his way. We'll have him take a look, but whatever. You still have to respect Stefon Diggs. Okay? You still have to respect that man. Until he absolutely proves that he has all the way fallen off, he's still going to be around. There's just no doubt about it. And I mean, we could even go back and start looking at, hey, when have some of the other receivers, when is their production really fallen off? And guys, let's not pretend that, and let's not sit here and act like Nick Caserio and D'Amico Ryans are stupid. Like, we're the ones that thought about this and they didn't. You don't think they didn't think about that? You don't think they don't have some sort of board, like a beautiful mind, and it's clear? I can just see Nick Caserio in his little sweater vest, you know, his little zipped up, half zip sweater vest. He's got a little bead of sweat just because he's thinking so hard. It's just sweat. Just he's all. That's the Sharpie on the glass. And he's just numbering. Just doing his gazintas. 4 gazinta 9s, 7 and gazinta 5. And he's doing the numbers, and he's looking at age, and he's looking at productivity, but he's looking at, what's my window? I've made all these moves. I have this much salary cap. I've got these guys leaving. I've got these guys coming. I've got all these moving parts. I've got a quarterback that is just unexpectedly brilliant. What's my window, and what can I do? How many weapons can I give this kid? I want him to have everything. We've made the defense great. What can we do this offseason besides improving the running game? I know. We got a disgruntled wide receiver up in Buffalo. Let's go get him. It's a brilliant move. It's a brilliant move. It's a brilliant move. So, I mean, I really don't see a downside to this, because even if he's your 2, like I said, what'd you give up to get him? You didn't really give up shit to go out and get a legit, solid, respectable number 2 receiver who the defense absolutely has to respect. Which, if Stefon Diggs is your 2, then that makes Tank Dell your 3? What are we talking about? What? I mean, it just makes all the sense in the world. Now we're just splitting hairs about, like, what are we talking about? And somebody, I think it was, I saw a tweet that it was Stefon Diggs that was like, yo, that's not even fair. That wide receiver room has 3 1s, which is high praise for Tank Dell, because I don't think Tank Dell's a 1. But hey, who am I? I mean, a lot of people tell you Nico Collins is a 1. Y'all know me. I'm not completely sold on it, but again, who am I? But damn, It's a pretty nice wide receiver room. And you still got Dalton Schultz. And that's what this is. This offseason has just been absolutely unbelievable. This is what the Texans have done this offseason. And this also doesn't include, who they brought back, including Dalton Schultz. But the Texans went out and got Stefon Diggs. And they got arguably the best, if not the second best, free agent on the market in Danielle Hunter. Just crazy. They got Joe Mixon. I mean, they damn near stole Joe Mixon from the Bengals for absolutely nothing. Danico Autry, are you shitting me? Jeff Okuda's a project, but his upside is tremendous. CJ Henderson, Tim Settle. Hey, listen, Tommy Townsend, let's go. Okay. And then remember now, yeah, you lost Grenard. You know what I mean? Like, but everything you lost, you replaced and got better. You lost the guys you had. You lost the guys you knew. But I'll take Danielle Hunter over Grenard every single day of the week, including Sunday. I mean, this is no doubt. This is no doubt. No doubt. This team, if let's just use numbers or grades. If this team last year was a B- on paper, going into this season, this team is an A-, trending to an A. That's how good this team is. This team's ceiling is the AFC Championship. I absolutely said it. This team, go ahead, mark it, clip it, put it down. I have no shame in saying this. I absolutely have no shame in saying this. And y'all know me. I don't say shit like this. Not about the Texans. So if you know me, if you have followed me for the last 13 years, or what? I started in 2013 on the radio. If you've known me for the last, 11 years, you know that I don't give props to the Texans and I don't say nice things about them. This team, as constructed, absolutely has the talent to make it to the AFC Championship game. Do they have the talent to win it? Don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Can they beat Kansas City or Baltimore and get to the Super Bowl? I have no idea. They might. I don't know. But as constructed and on paper, yes, this Texans team has enough talent to get to the AFC Championship game. Period. You can say what you want to say. You will not convince me otherwise. This team is that good. And Nick Caserio has had that good of an offseason. Period. Sean said if CJ takes a step back, Texans fans is going to spontaneously combust. No, Nasty Nate said you worried about a sophomore slump for CJ. No, I'm not. I'm not worried about a sophomore slump for CJ. I'm not. Did they say that about Patrick Mahomes? Did he have a sophomore slump? I mean, you know what I mean? Like there's some quarterbacks that have sophomore slumps and there's some that don't. There's some players that have them and there's some that don't. Is it possible? Yeah, sure. Absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. Well, what are you going to play scared? Are you just going to sit on your hands? Hey, let's just get through his sophomore season and waste another year? No. Yeah, that's what makes what he's doing also that much more impressive, Nate. That's what makes what he did and is doing that much more impressive. Did Patrick Mahomes go that many throws without an interception? It's unbelievable, dude. And trust me, I'm that dude. I'm that dude that doubted CJ Stroud as long as I could. Look, he ain't that good. Come on, can't be. Bro, give the devil his due. I mean, it's what your eyes are telling you. Bro, they were the worst team in football other than the Bears. If it wasn't for Lovie Smith, thank God, didn't even realize, but Lovie Smith did this team a favor when we thought that as fans that he had screwed the team over. He actually did the Texans a favor because if they're picking one, they'd probably take Bryce Young. Bro, I'm telling you, this kid is that good. And I didn't want to believe it. So, I don't know. Well, Nate, I get it. Nate said CJ was too good. I expect a step back this year. Okay. I don't blame you. You are a scarred and scorned Houston football fan. And that is a Houston football sports fan mentality. I get it. And I don't blame you for thinking that way. I think you're wrong, but I don't blame you for thinking that way because that is the Houston sports fan mentality. And I am guilty of having that mentality myself. But you know what? I've seen enough. And I just refuse to continue to believe that. What this team has done since DeMeco Ryans stepped a pinky toe in that building, it's just been different, bro. It's been different from the get-go. From the moment that man walked in the building. It's been different. So, I don't know. I need to be different too, I guess. I expect him to take a step forward. See, that's what I'm talking about, Tony. Tony expects 17-0. I know he does. That's how Tony lives. Tony lives in a world of complete and utter optimism. No doubt. None whatsoever. Right, Tony? Never a doubt. What's up, Philip Barnard? Philip said it's not so much about him regressing this coming year. Can he match and surpass what he did last year? But the kid had a magical year. And you know what? He doesn't have to match or surpass necessarily. If you think he's going to go that long without throwing an interception or only throw whatever he did, I mean, guys, that's just not going to happen. I promise you, as I sit here right now, he's going to throw more interceptions than he did last year. I promise you that. For a couple of reasons. One, last year was just a crazy fluke of a year. He had a ton of interceptions that were dropped. He should have had more, but the defense helped him out a ton. Okay? First and foremost. And second of all, whether they would admit it or not, I'd be willing to bet you that they were probably still a little conservative, even though they said, oh no, we just let him go. We just, and as he's more comfortable and feels the game and it slows down for him and he's going to get a little more aggressive. He's going to feel it. He's going to see the field better. He's going to get more aggressive downfield. But he's going to make more mistakes in doing that. And that's okay. That's okay. I'm willing to accept that. So, yes, he's going to have some things or some of his numbers aren't going to be as good, okay? Some of his numbers aren't going to be as good, like interceptions. I expect his touchdown numbers to, because I think the run game is going to be markedly better. which is really scary because it's going to open up the passing game that much more. I truly believe that. They have a legitimate threat at running back now. A legitimate threat. Wouldn't that be funny if Stefon Diggs just starts stepping in front of his own receivers? That ball was intended for Nico Collins, and Stefon Diggs just steps in front of it. Is that an interception? I mean, it's the same team. Well, that'd be hilarious. Amos says if Tank doesn't get hurt, his year probably would have been MVP worthy. Who? Tank's year would have been MVP worthy, or Stroud's year would have been MVP worthy? Amos, what is you saying, baby? In the meantime, let's take a look at no, not that. That was, God, that's so beautiful though. Look at that offseason. Honestly, you know what I wanted to ask Jerome? Because I've been around Houston sports my whole life. Oh, CJ's year? Yeah. I think his own injury is what hurt him more than anything. I think his own injury hurt him the most. But yeah, you're probably right. Tank also, but I think his own injury cost him more than Tank's. I'll be honest with you. I can't recall a more active or better or more exciting offseason in football, at least in this city. I can't. Dre said Texans lost 3 O-linemen and none have been replaced. Who'd they lose? Texans should trade for his brother. That'd be hilarious. Who'd they lose? Let me go look. Let me look at Spot Track. Oh, let's look at before we get to that, Dre. Stop getting off topic, Dre. Hold on. Shit. You guys always do this to me. Y'all know I have ADHD. And you just start throwing out random shit, taking me down a rabbit hole. I swear to God. What's up, Double Rods? Double Rods said closest offseason was Manning and J-Joe signings. Yeah, Danielle Manning and Jonathan J-Joe. Yeah. I'm thinking back to like Oilers days. You're probably right, though. I mean, for Texans, for sure, right? But I'm even going back to the Oilers days. I mean, if you think about it, though, look at the top end of that. Stefon Diggs, Danielle Hunter, and Joe Mixon. Bro. I mean, and Autry and Okudah, that's just... And Okudah has... I get it. Like, he's not been great, but damn. Look at Mines. What's up, Mines? Mines said, imagine losing to the Blue Jays. Yeah, imagine getting no hit by a scrub. Imagine getting no hit by a dude with 8 career starts with he had a 7.11 ERA in his first year in the majors. Imagine that, Mines. Imagine that. Imagine the Raptors eating all the NBA dicks. All right, Mines. Don't get me off track. We're talking this big trade in football. Orange juice is better than pineapple juice. Shut up, Rudy Rod. All right, so here is Stefon Diggs' Spot Track. Swear to God, everybody try to distract me. I will ban the whole goddamn chat if I have to. Do you hear me? I will ban every single one of you. I'll turn this whole show around. I'll turn this whole show around and go home. I'll turn it around. All right, here's Diggs' Spot Track. So they have a potential out in 2025, which I think is also part of why you saw the trade. Because, hey, look, if he's lost a step, genius. Genius. If he comes in and he shits the bed this year and it's like, and you go, ugh, gross. He wasn't even the second best receiver on the team. He's lost not a step. He's lost 2-3 steps. He wasn't better than Tank Dell. Hell, he wasn't better than Dalton Schultz at this point. He's just an old, he's old for 31. Then you just go, cut him. Look at that. Potential out 2025, 0 dead cap. I mean, that's pretty shrewd, and all you would have lost in the experiment in going for it, right? In taking that chance and opportunity, you'd have lost a second round pick that you got from Minnesota. That's a gamble. It's a gamble that you take, though. I take that gamble. I like it. He's getting 18 million this year, 18 million, 19, and then 14 his final year where he'll be. So he's 31 this year, 32, 33, 34. His contract takes him through 2027. He'll be 34 years old. Yep. Man, it's hard to believe he was a 5th round pick. 5th round pick. Let's see. Now we were going to look. Here we go. All right. There we go. Stefon Diggs, as far as receiving stats goes, he was 13th in the league in yards. Nico Collins was 8th. All right. So Diggs was 13th in the league in yards with 1,183. All right. He had 8 touchdowns. That's also what Nico Collins had. So, I mean, you've already got 2 top 15 wide receivers. That's not bad. That's not bad at all, right? Well, where does Tank fall in that? I mean, is there enough ball to go around? Let's be honest. Nico had 80 receptions on 109 targets. Stefon Diggs had 107 receptions on 160 targets for 1,183 yards. Averaged 11.1 yards per reception. Nico averaged 16.2. That's crazy good. Let's see. This was yards after catch, 549 for Nico. Stefon Diggs had 399. And let's go back a year to 2022 regular season. Diggs was 5th in the NFL in yards with 1,429. He was 3rd in touchdowns. Okay. So let's go to 2021. Diggs was 8th in yards, and he was 6th in touchdowns. So while he did have a down year, all right, 1, he's disgruntled. 2, I don't think he and Josh Allen their chemistry wasn't that great. And, Dieter Fant and Josh Jones. Okay. I'll take a look. There were rumblings that he was disgruntled anyways. And he kind of said as much. And he said, look, he really kind of said he felt like the window was closed in Buffalo, that they really missed their chance. Now, granted, he's not a guy that had a great postseason, if we're being honest. Diggs was not the best postseason. Let's see. Does this have playoff stats? Let's see. Postseason. There we go. Postseason numbers. He's made the postseason 4 years in a row, 2021, 22, 23. He averaged 7.3 yards. That's not good. And he had a big drop, like a huge drop this last postseason. Huge drop. He had that big fumble. So yeah, kind of disappeared this year in Buffalo. And I think part of it is he's just kind of disgruntled. The chemistry wasn't there between him and Josh Allen. And look, Josh Allen had a good year. But I want to go back and look at something for Buffalo. I mean, boy. That tells you something was up with this team and with this offense. And Gabe Davis is gone too, right? They lost Gabe Davis as well, if I'm not mistaken. I saw something, I think it was Adam Schefter that tweeted that out. What Buffalo, I showed you guys what Houston added. I think it was Schefter that tweeted it out, what the Texans have lost, or what the Bills have lost. And I want to say they lost Gabe Davis as well. Let me find it real quick. Chat. Hang on a minute, chat. Let's see. There's Schefter. Yeah, that's... Jeez. Here we go. Wowzers. So there's the tweet from Adam Schefter. And, what is that? Schultz drops balls, but got to pay someone. Yeah. Here you go. So, hey, what's up, Cisco? Good to see you, buddy. So here you go. Adam Schefter tweeted it out. Look at this. All of a sudden, Buffalo is like, yikes, what's going on? Stefon Diggs gone. Gabe Davis gone. Okay? That's their top two receivers. You just had 1,900 yards, 1,900 receiving yards just walk out the door. I don't know who they added in the offseason. I guess I could go here and look. I don't even remember, but geez, that's a lot. Let's see. Free agents. Tracker. All teams will do Buffalo. Update. 2. So they added Curtis Samuel. Okay. We'll look at him. That's Bills now have Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir, and Mac Hollins. Look at Eric. Eric's like a goddamn encyclopedia. Trey said, wow, Alex, you gonna let TD talk to you like that? What happened? Alex, yikes. Trent Sherfield. Okay. Mac Hollins, that's nothing. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Samuel. Okay, yeah, his market value was 11. Where was he last year? Let's see. 2023 regular season. Wow. Ooh, boy. Let's look at yards. Here we go. Now, his numbers will improve, obviously, being at Buffalo and getting out of Washington. But, damn. That's... Yikes. I don't even see his stats up here. Okay. Huh. What do we do? Well, there you go. So, yeah, Buffalo's. That's going to be interesting. And again, another team where they paid Josh Allen all that money. And just like the Chiefs, you're going to have to get Josh Allen to probably redo his deal so that you can get some more talent in their receiver position. You're about to see the Bills go through what the Chiefs went through last year, possibly. So, Diggs was by far the best receiver on that team. And that wasn't even that good of a team. I shouldn't say that. It wasn't even. Josh Allen had 4,300 yards passing, 29 touchdowns. And it just felt like, you look, I guess it just spread the ball around a lot, but I don't know. It's just not that impressive, I guess. I was expecting to see more big time numbers. Gabe Davis is good. He's not great, but he's good. But yeah, that's gonna be. I'm curious, actually. I'm curious. Where did Allen finish in yards? 4th. Okay. Finished 4th in yards and 5th in touchdowns. All right. Well, we'll see. It's not bad for a receiver that lost a step to have 450 more yards than the second best receiver on the team for a quarterback who finished 5th in touchdowns and 4th in yards in the entire NFL. I'd like to lose a step like that, too. It's not bad is what I'm saying. It's not bad. That whole lose a step shit might be a little overrated. We'll see. We'll find out for sure. All right. Got that out the way. Okay, what was I going to look at? Oh, the Texans. Let's see. Updates. Let me go to the depth chart. I always hate it when I move because I have to put the browser like real small so it fits on the screen here. So, okay. Well, they still kind of have their core. They did lose some depth, but here's your O-line depth chart right now. You still have Laramie Tunsil at left tackle. You still have Titus Howard at right tackle. You got Juice Scruggs at center. You got Shaq Mason and Kenyon Green. And, yeah. Okay. Good old Charlie Hick. I wonder if his name was Charlie Hale, and they were like, nope, can't have that. You got to go by Charlie Hick. David Sharp, Kendrick Green, Jarrett Patterson. So, yeah, it doesn't look like... let's see. Houston, all types. From Houston, so... Oh, we should just look at positions. There we go. Offensive line. Yeah, so that gives you the update. Yeah. So George Fant left for Seattle. Charlie Hick stayed. Michael Dieter left. Wow. He got $320. Josh Jones. So, okay. Yeah, I don't know. Who'd you say? Who'd you say they lost, Dre? Dieter, Fant, and Jones. Josh Jones ain't really... I don't think any of those cats are really that big. Fant might be the biggest loss. Yeah, that might be the biggest loss. The rest are... I think that was all backups and debts. What's up, Perry? Good to see you, buddy. All right, well, I got word. Jerome Solomon actually going to be joining me now at 4:10. What? Now Jerome's saying he can, he said, I'll figure it out. That's what's up. All right, so there's your more than you ever wanted to know about Stefon Diggs. In the meantime, before Jerome joins us, Couple of things. Here's the stop toying with this drum. I know, CC. Here's the Caitlin Clark effect, in case you were wondering. Look at these numbers. So the LSU Iowa game drew 12.3 million viewers last night, or the night before. The Iowa LSU game had 12.3 million viewers. That game had more viewers than any women's college basketball game ever. Had more viewers than the 2023 NBA Finals, 2023 World Series, 2023 Orange Bowl, Big Ten Championship game, the Cotton Bowl, Pac-12 Championship game, Big 12 Championship game, ACC Championship game, and the Peach Bowl. Had more viewers than the Thursday Night Football, every 2023 college football regular season game except Ohio State versus Michigan. That's pretty damn impressive, okay? And even for a jerk like me that's like, yeah, I don't really care for women's basketball. Hey, you gotta tip the cap. What those ladies have done, and give some credit to Angel Reese and LSU and Kim Mulkey and everybody. I mean, that sport has really had some impressive athletes come through. And I got to give credit where credit is due, okay? Because I'm always one that's like, I've watched and it's just fundamentally sound and boring and I don't like. But I just scrolling the old gram yesterday or today. I'm not going to lie. I saw a couple highlights. Is a couple of games in the tourney. I want to say it was USC UConn. Yeah, it was USC UConn. No way, Sean. You hate something? Sean hates stuff? Hates something? Shiver me timbers. What? I think it was highlights from the UConn USC game. Bro, I'm here to tell y'all, they was balling. And it wasn't the typical, hey, here's a bounce pass, and then I'm going to set it up, and I'm going to dribble, and then I'm going to. No, I mean, like, it was like, And it had, Rudy Rod, breaking news, Sean hates stuff. It had the highlights, felt like I was watching dudes. That's probably. I didn't mean it like that. Okay. I didn't mean it like, those look like dudes. I meant it in the sense that the play, because the beef and the gripe, the complaint has always been that the game lacks the same visual appeal of the men's game, at least in my case. When I watch the men's game, there's a certain fluidity. There's a certain visual appeal, right? I don't know how to describe it. It's just you watch it and there's just this fluidity to it, you know? And you watch the women's game and it's like, But watching those highlights, it was like, yo, that's the same. Like, you could have, I mean, if you would have just blurred out like everything except maybe just like the ball handling and the shoes or something, I would have never known. I would have never known the difference. I couldn't have told you, oh, that's women's college basketball. I'd just been like, yeah, that's some dudes out there just balling. And it was good basketball. It was really good basketball. Not all of it, but the highlights that I saw. So, I mean, I guess I'm saying that to say, hey, look, the women's basketball game is really taking a huge step forward. And I think a lot of that has to do with the women that are coming up and playing are more athletic. I mean, you look at what Caitlin Clark is doing with the ball. It's crazy. I mean, she's just ridiculous. Angel Reese is ridiculous. Like, Amos said, we've been telling you the last few years, these 2000 babies different in the women's game. Let's not act like they still sometimes don't, but I'm just telling you that for the first time ever, I've seen highlights where I'm like, okay. They've got skills beyond what I'm used to seeing. I still don't know that I could sit down and watch a whole game. I don't know if I could do it yet. But now when the highlight comes on, I'm just not like, garbage. Blech. Now I'm like, let me see. Oh, damn. Yeah, Tony the Handsome says she can pass too. Great court vision. What's up, Justin? Swinny Poo. What up, Jamal? Women's basketball is evolving, and I'm here for it. Yeah, baby. Rudy Rod said the flow of the game was like men playing. Oh, the USC UConn game? Bro, I'm telling you, like that chick from UConn or USC, what's her name? She was a freshman. Let me go to ESPN and pull up the box score. She was bowling. I mean, I was like, damn. She was legit. So UConn's playing Iowa. That is, I don't know when that is. Hold on, let me zoom out here. Is that tonight? Oh, that's Friday. Oh, yeah. So that was number 1 USC lost to number 3 UConn. Okay. It was, so Buchers. Yeah, Paige Buchers was one of them. She was balling. And then it was Juju Watkins. Yeah, Justin knew. Yeah, Juju Watkins. Shit. Bro, her handles. Ha. And then I was like, damn. Okay, Juju. Okay. Yeah, Juju was getting after it. And then there was a chick on LSU, but I can never pronounce her name. How do you pronounce it? How do you pronounce this, chat? How do you pronounce it? Juju is a beast, Jen said. Yes. I was like, damn. How do you pronounce this, chat? I think Donna told me once, and I was like, what? And I'm always scared I'm going to mess it up. Flauge? Women's basketball. Perry said White Magic exits the chat. That's funny. Amos said they're actually training at a younger age and not just taking seriously when they get to high school. Oh yeah. That helps. That helps. Flauge. It's Flauge, really? Flauge. Okay. Flauge. Got it. Flauge. Well, she's a badass too. Angel Reese and Flauge were badass. Juju is probably going to break all of Clark's records. You think so, Aaron? What up, AJB? You think so, Aaron? You think she breaks all of her records? She's a baller, man. I don't know if she has the shot, though, does she? I know she's got the handles. I didn't stick around to watch it. Like I said, she had, it was just highlights. I mean, I wasn't watching the game. So let's not act like I'm over here like, man, I was all up in it. But I can go look at Juju Watkins. She had 29 in the game. She averaged 27 on the season. I think though she's gonna have to be a killer from the 3-point line. She shot 31%. That ain't gonna get it. AJB. You know me, I'm an expert when it comes to women's college basketball. Yeah, that ain't gonna get it. You ain't gonna pass Caitlin Clark shooting 32% from 3. Bro, Caitlin shot 38%. Hold on. Let's see. Stats. For her career, she shot 37.8% for her career. Her freshman year, she shot 40%. She shot 39% and 38% her last 2 years. Yeah, you're gonna have to shoot better than that. And she averaged 28.5 points a game. 26, 27, 27, and 32. Now, you can still average more, but you're gonna have to get it. She's gonna have to get it. Where'd it go? So yeah, but I mean, Juju averaged 27 this year. That's pretty good. Oh. Juju, her dad was a rapper, now she raps. Who, Flaw J? Oh, yeah. I heard something about that where she was like, don't think because I'm a rapper that I can't play basketball. That's true. I watched it. Juju was worn out because she played hero ball. Would have loved to see SC LSU rematch. That would have been good. What was Clark's numbers as her freshman year? Okay, here I'll put these up. Look at us talking women's college basketball on Barry on Deck. Did you ever think you'd see the day, chat? Huh? Did you ever think? What? Hello. What happened? Oh, let me fix this title before Jerome shows up. He'll be like, what? No look. Okay. I'll be like, how dare you have my name all messed up? All right. Chrome resize. Scenes. Shoop. Bop. Boom. All right. We were looking at, here is Caitlin Clark's career. So there's her season averages for her career. I'll zoom in a little bit. Maybe you can see them. So there's Caitlin. This is Caitlin Clark. There you go. Points per game. 26.6 her first year, then 27, 27.8, and 32. She averaged 28.5 for her career. And so, yeah. And then Juju Watkins' first year she's averaged 27 a game for her first season. So, yeah, I mean, well, AJB might be right. She's averaging a little bit more than Caitlin Clark did her first season, but she's going to have to step it up. She's going to have to average 32 a season, or 32 a game her senior season. So I can't believe we just talked women's college basketball on Barry on Deck. Look at this. Huh? Don't tell me I'm not maturing as a show. I have never talked so much women's college basketball my whole damn life. I'm tapped out. I have literally ran out of knowledge. That's it. I have maxed out my women's college basketball, and I just want everybody in this chat to just shower me with praise. What do you mean you're about to fight me? Why are you about to fight me, Jen? Oh shit! Okay. Did I just call the wrong? Damn it, Jen, leave me alone. All right, guys, as promised, my man that showed up. He said he wasn't going to be here, but he showed up. So I appreciate that. He took time out of his busy schedule to come talk to us about a huge trade going down for the Houston Texans. Joining me on the program right now, senior columnist for the Houston Chronicle, my man, Jerome Solomon. Jerome, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Yeah, but so we're not going to talk about you butchering the entire segment on women's college basketball.
I killed it.
Just brutally butchering it.
I killed it.
Flaugier, dog.
Flaugier? They said.
How do you not know? You can't name 10 men's basketball players, but you go butcher the best women's basketball players. Is that what you going to do?
First of all, that is true. Second of all.
I was waiting on
Second of all,
try to plead innocent in the case.
Second of all,
officer, I wasn't driving, officer.
Second of all, I'll be damned. Man, I was telling him, no, for real, I was scrolling and I was watching highlights, and there's that moment where you realize what you're watching. And my big beef in the past with women's college basketball is it doesn't have the same appeal, right? It doesn't, the visual appeal isn't the same as the men's game, the fluidity and all that stuff. The highlights I was watching though, bro, they were balling. Like they were balling.
No, I get that, but what bothers some of us who enjoy the game, one is you don't have to complain about the game. Don't watch it. You don't like it. I don't sit here and complain about cricket because I don't watch it. So
right,
what kind of fool would I be to complain about it? So that's one. But two, people that do that, and then there's a whole nother category involved in this too, who are like, oh man, I hate the NBA because they don't play basketball. I watch college. Like, really? College men's basketball, the athletes aren't even close to the NBA caliber. Not even athletes, basketball players, period. So you've got some underlying issues when you do that. And it's the same when they go, oh, the women's game isn't as good as, but you watch college men's basketball, which isn't close to the best in the world on any level. In the WNBA, they can hoop. You watching college women's ball? Trust me, the WNBA is way better. Way, way better. The stars of the college game now will have a tough time being superstars on the next level because that's how good these women are in what they play, in the game that they play. So it's one of those where I don't have to hate something that's not what you're into. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That thing that stands out to me.
No, I get it. I don't I don't proactively go around hating it. I just don't watch it and don't talk about it. And then when it comes up, I'm like, yeah, I'm not a fan. But I will say, and that's what led the discussion. I was like, hey man, credit where credit is due. I ended up watching some of these highlights and I was like, damn, the game has improved significantly. And so I had a whole stat where that LSU Iowa game, the numbers, the ratings were just ridiculous. The 12.3 million.
No, it's
damn.
It's kind of crazy. I had something. Let me pull it up here now. I hadn't thought about it till you mentioned ratings.
12.3 million.
But U of H sent something out today about the basketball team and the ratings they received for their games this season. And not the ratings necessarily, but the numbers that they drew. it's kind of fascinating. It's like I to look at this, but it's like the men's basketball got 17.5 million viewers.
Damn.
For all of their games. And you just mentioned that Iowa LSU got 12.5 for one game the other night.
One? That's
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. U of H had 14 national televised games in the Big 12 this season. And they drew 9.7 million, so almost 10, give them that.
Yeah.
For all of those 14 games combined. Wow. Iowa LSU women got way more than that for
one game. Wow.
So and again, that's not about the quality of play. It's not without question, U of H would beat both of those teams by 50 points.
Yeah.
We put Jamal Shed on Caitlin Clark, and it's gonna be a problem. I love me some Caitlin, but she'd have to shoot she'd shoot beyond midcourt to get off on Jamal. But that's not what it's about.
No.
There are people who like it, and I'm not hating on those people. Like, dude, you know how many minutes of wrestling I've watched in the last 30 years?
Yeah.
0. But I don't care that they draw huge ratings on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
When I think Monday Night Raw, I'm thinking something else. But I'm not hating on them. Let them enjoy what they enjoy, and there's an audience for it. And now I think it's great basketball. I love it. I'm into it. I follow it. Kim Mulkey is a lightning rod. I've known her for 25 years. She's one of my favorites. She's a great coach, not a good one. She's a great basketball coach. And the flack that she gets is just fascinating. And most of it, most of it. I was going to say a lot of it. No, most of it is because she's a woman. Men who coach the same way as she does, like, oh, he's tough. She coached like Kelvin Sampson.
Yeah.
People don't dog Kelvin Sampson for being a hard ass. They dog her for being a hard ass.
I can see that. I can see that. It's very one-sided, and it's very misogynistic. The only thing that I didn't like was her little press conference where she went on the offensive about that Washington Post article. I was just like, I
had no problem.
That was awful. I didn't like it one bit.
So, I'm on the journalist side.
Yeah.
I had no problem with it. She was mad at that this guy was going around trying to write something negative about her. She didn't know how bad it was going to be. So she was like, hey, and he sent her a list of questions. And I two things. I don't send a list of questions to anybody.
Yeah.
It's like, you want to interview and talk to me, let's sit down and talk about it. But any list of questions written down is going to sound worse than in person. And so I when that came up, I've explained to some people, I don't blame her for thinking that way, because the list of if a question is, so did you dog a player for being overweight? That's written. If I'm talking to you and I'm interviewing you, I'll go like, oh, so I hear you, you got a little trouble with a player being overweight while y'all working out, trying to get her in, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Verbally, you approach it differently than the written word. So when you send a list of written questions and she read that list, she's like, oh, this is a hit piece, because all the questions were hit piece. I guarantee you, not one of the questions was, how proud are you of the great job you've done as a basketball coach? No, that wasn't one of the questions. All of them were about something negative in her mind. And me as a writer, I don't believe there's such thing as positive and negative. I write the truth. I write what I find. So if I've had coaches when I first started, that's where I learned this positive negative BS. I had coaches who were like, when I started covering high schools, they're like, you only come out when we lose. Like, really? I didn't know y'all were gonna lose before I got here. What are you talking about? Dude, I come to your game, y'all got smoked. That ain't my fault.
Y'all got smoked. Not my fault.
And I'm not even exaggerating. I'm serious. People have done that to me. And conversely, I've had other people hilarious. Like, you're the only one that believed in me. I was like, yeah, because I was covering high school, the only one that could write about you and I wrote about you. It's like, okay.
Bro, I was just showing
you had
up.
a great game that day. It wasn't personal. It's what happened. Trust me. There are guys like, man, you wrote. TJ Ford played for one of the best teams in the history of high school basketball. All levels, all states, not just Houston or Texas, in Willow Ridge. And TJ's my boy. I've known him since then. And he's like, man, you were riding with us. I'm like, dude, you had the best team in the country. Like, what? I didn't do anything.
That's my job.
Just a paper of record. But in their minds,
that's
like,
so funny.
He's always been down with me.
He's been with us. He was there from the get-go. Like, that's my job, bro. Like,
let me give you a quick 30 seconds of my favorite TJ story. Not all TJ, but so I was covering the Big 12 when because I covered a little bit of high school, but then I was in Big 12 when he got to Texas. And they were playing at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State has one of the best arenas in the country, especially then. They doubled the size now, but back then it was a gym, literally. So Gallagher Iba was real tight, 6,500 people, and press row. You're sitting. Your feet are on the court. Fans have their feet on the court. It was that tight. So Texas was playing there on a Monday night, huge game. Both teams are in the high rankings, etc. And TJ went to the hole and got fouled or something and knocked into the crowd. And he runs into this woman who was sitting, on the front row, and she was pregnant. Her husband jumps up, was mad that this dude had run into his wife, and they start. He grabbed him, and then James Thomas, the University of Texas enforcer, the big man, rushed in and jumped in and pulled, et cetera, et cetera. So it turned into, it wasn't a brawl, but it was kind of a fight, right? Well, I'm sitting there in the media at the press row right there too. And James Thomas, when I saw him a few weeks later, he's like, man, we was swinging, wasn't we? I was like, we? No, I was just trying to get y'all out the way, dog. I wasn't in the fight. But they were like, you was with us.
You had our back. I really thought you were down.
I guess if it had gone down like that, I would have been on y'all's side. But that wasn't what happened. I was just so there, great. Bro.
You like,
but in their mind, they're like, we was together because they knew me. They didn't know nobody else in the building. So I was so with them. So like,
that's the equivalent of the Astros getting in a fight. Like, yeah, Julia was out there with us, right? Julia, you was out there swinging. She's like, what? No.
it literally was that. I so grabbed funny. A couple people and pulled them back or something. Yeah. But I wouldn't fight.
You're like, I'm not fighting with y'all. That's so great. So you don't do, real quick, and I know we got to get to the Stefon Diggs thing, but you don't do interviews via email at all, right? Like, I mean, unless you have to.
No, it has to be like a serious emergency. And emergency is it like, I just need one quote about one question.
Right.
But an interview, no. I'm not going to send you 15 questions, and I don't do send us the question in advance so the person can prepare the answer. No, If you want me to interview, we're gonna talk. And
that's such a new school thing, dude.
Because my main thing on that is, especially 99% of the people we interview are professionals. They've done interviews before, so they're not gonna be shocked. So they could easily say, no comment, or no, I'm not gonna answer that question. That's not hard.
Yep.
It's just not. I mean, and sometimes people will say that over a question that they could easily answer. So I'm not going to give them an out by giving a chance to prepare and prep for the question, because my questions are very organic anyway. I like to. It depends on the flow of the conversation. I want you to be relaxed. I had lunch with John Lucas last week, and he was saying, like, Jerome, you have this ability to get people to answer questions and talk about stuff. But they trust you. I'm like, yeah, because they know I'm not going to blow out anything that they say. But no, I'm not going to let you sit there and work on the questions for a day or two and then sit down and answer the question, like it's TV people will do that crap because they're not real journalists. They're doing TV content.
It seems like it's such a new school thing too, right? I think that's a very new school way of doing things.
New school necessarily. There have always been people who work that way, but I do think, quote unquote, email obviously hadn't been around that long, so people are like, and so many more people that you interview have PR people and publicists and people around them who are like, well, what do you want to interview them about? So I'll tell you what I want to talk to you about,
right?
But I'm not going to give you questions.
Subject matter, topic,
right. But again, when it's controversial. Like if I'm, you're under indictment or you're about to be investigated by some league or you are under investigation, I'll say, here's what I want to go to. Here's what I'm looking for. Here's what we want to talk about. But I'm not going to give you specific questions because, that if you don't do that, just send me a statement.
Right.
But I'm not going to send you the questions. So again, I know, I put it like this. I've known Kim Mulkey 25 years, and every time I've asked her for an interview, she's like, what time? And we've talked about, and I've interviewed her about everything. This woman, she's hardcore, love her to death as a coach and who she is, but she don't mess around. Like, she ain't, once her husband said he was out, she's like, really? Okay. And they had like 2 kids. They would have no conversation again unless it was a 911 about a kid's health. She was done with him. Her dad bailed out on the family. Bro, you done. You're not going to talk about it. She worked for La Tech. She played at Louisiana Tech, won the national championship there. Then was an assistant coach there. Then when the head coach left, she was the head coach, and she's like, "Give me a 5-year contract that everybody else gets." And the athletic director was like, "Now 3 years is what we're gonna do." And she's like, begged, out in tears, literally, like, "This is my home. This is my place where I want to be, but I need the 5-year contract." He said no. Baylor said, "We'll give you that." So she went to Baylor and didn't talk to him again. And years later, when she won the national championship at Baylor, he sent her a letter, a congratulatory letter. Oh, she just threw that mug in the corner and never opened it. She's like, "I'm done with you. You've had your chance." And that's who she is. That's not who I am. But I'm not admiring it. I'm saying she had no problem ever telling me about those stories, about her upbringing and what she's had to deal with, etc. So, if she didn't want to talk to this guy from the Washington Post because she didn't like something else that he wrote and some other personality-driven thing that he'd done, when she went off, I knew what she was going off. She was going off of, "This is going to make me look bad," and it did. I don't think it made it look bad at all. And there are people who are like, "Oh, there must be something much worse out there that didn't come out." No, I'm not buying that. She did what Kim Mulkey does. She overreacts to everything. But and real quick, I can tell you this: even the Brittany Griner stuff, and I'm a huge Brittany Griner guy. Known her since she was in the 9th grade. Have stood by her and behind her for everything she's done. And she and Mulkey had issues, especially over the sexuality and whether you should express it. And they were Baylor Baptist and all of that stuff going on there. But when they were in the Final Four, and I need to find this and pull the video and play it. I asked Mulkey about all the stuff that Griner has gone through and dealt with. And it's some of the most disgusting stuff that I've ever heard. We've seen things here in the last couple of days from Angel Reese of being hurt and upset and saying how she has not felt comfortable because of the attacks that have been upon her. Nothing compared to what Brittany Griner has gone through and goes through to this day.
Yeah.
I challenge you, pull up Brittany Griner right now on any social media app, whatever you want, and within 5 seconds, you'll see something that's totally disgusting about her.
Yeah.
And she's dealt with that since she was in middle school. But when I asked Kim Mulkey about it at the Final Four, when they were there and they were going to win the national championship, Mulkey was in tears about the stuff that she's seen from fans and opponents and people in the crowd and signs about her best player. That was just disgusting. And that said more about Mulkey and her heart than anything else that everybody else has seen. So
that's deep, man.
Yeah. Mulkey's my girl. I'll give her that. And the thing is, you don't have to like everything about a person or applaud everything that they do for you to respect them. And and that's, we're in a world now where it's like, oh, you one of them. Like, no, I got a problem with 2-3 things she may have done or said. That doesn't mean I'm not with her overall, in a general sense. And it's
right.
We're really in a society where we're fighting against ourselves. Like, you're either all in or you're all out, and that's bullshit. Like,
that's true.
I'm not all in on you, Barry.
Okay.
Wait a minute. I'm 99.
Wait a damn minute. What? Wait a damn minute. What?
0.2%, 95.2 is pretty good.
I take it. That's the point.
But I can't agree with everything. And I wouldn't expect somebody to agree with me on everything. That's just silly. Like, no, man. Yeah. If you can't argue with me about something, or not even argue, disagree with me about something, then I'm worried about your sanity. Because I know I'm right, but you're not smart enough to know I'm right on everything. Not you specifically, Barry. I'm just the people in general.
Wait a damn. Cut. And scene. All right, let's talk about this.
That's pretty smooth. I need to write that down. I haven't used that before.
That is not making the highlight reel. I'll tell you that damn much. Let's talk about this trade, man. This, give me your thoughts, dude. This, we talked for a while, just about it. As if this team hadn't already, I felt like, won the offseason with all of the moves that they made. My big point was I really wanted this team to go out and get what I felt like was a legitimate number one to put on the other side of Nico Collins, to be, which a lot of people say Nico's a one, but I really wanted them to get a one. This made me happy. What are your thoughts on what the Texans did and what Nick Caserio has pulled off?
Yeah, I'll start there just real quick. Nico is not a one. He very well played this past season like he could be a one, and maybe is going to be a one. So much power to him and how well he delivered. But he wasn't a one. He was the one for this team.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean doesn't mean he should be better. He's going to get better. I have no doubt that he can be a one. But that doesn't mean you can't get better as a receiving core. And Stefon Diggs, and I was writing some stuff here, looking at it a second ago, the best available wide receiver, period, this offseason. Aside from way far better, not just better, far better than the available wide receivers. And that erases, there are a couple of guys who were franchise tag, T. Higgins and Marquise, whatever, was franchised, and then Mike Evans, who re-signed with Tampa Bay. So those guys stayed with their team. So he'd be in that mix with them without a question, but it wouldn't be far better. As far as the free agents available, far better. So the simple answer is the Texans got, of all the wide receivers who changed teams this offseason, the Texans got by far the best one. Period. Yeah. And that's huge. As far as the outside pass rushers who changed teams this season, the Texans got, at worst, the second best one in Danielle Hunter. And so across the board, one of the half jokes I'm writing is, I've got to go back and search through my stories that I've written here over the last couple of months to keep from self-plagiarizing myself in saying how good the Texans have done with the decision making that they've done of late. We're not used to being able to say that. They're on a roll of making smart decisions, championship caliber decisions on paper. And we haven't been able to say that. And this just adds to it big time, because there's no way this is negative, especially for what they gave up for him. And forget the money. You know me, I'm always like, the money means nothing anyway. But this dude he's only guaranteed 1 year anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they're going to rework his contract or something.
Yeah, they have an out.
They got a second round pick next year, not even this year.
Right.
And whatever they rework his contract, it's going to be, they'll be able to bail on it in 2-3 years. He's 30 years old. People tend to slide. But as you mentioned, he was 7th in catches this year, 13th in yards. If they are better today than they were yesterday, by far. Did you see the odds? I know you jumped on the show a little bit, so I don't know if you got a chance to look them up. I've never seen it. I'm sure it's happened before, but I've never seen the odds move as much for a wide receiver move as they did today with the Texans.
No, I didn't even. Somebody brought it up in the chat. Let's look at the Super Bowl odds, and I never even got a chance to look.
They were 22-1 to win the Super Bowl. They moved up to 10-1.
What?
With only 2 or 3 teams ahead of them. And to put it in perspective, the Jets were 25-1 before they got Aaron Rodgers last year, and they only moved up to 14-1. So the Texans moved farther with this move than the Jets did with Aaron Rodgers. That's crazy to me.
That is insane.
It can't be about just Stefon Diggs. I think it's about they finally put the whole picture together and said, like, okay, we got to give this team love because they're doing so many right things.
Well, I mean, when you think about what the addition of Diggs does, it's not just the addition of Diggs, right? it's what the addition of Diggs does is it puts so much pressure on every defense in the NFL now, because who are you going to double? Right? Who are you going to cover? Because if you double Diggs, now what do you do about Nico and Tank Dell and Dalton Schultz? And oh, by the way, the running game is probably 2 to 3 times better now with Joe Mixon than it was last year. I mean, it's just the weapons that they have added in the offseason, like you said. They probably got, it's everywhere that you look, this team got markedly better. And that's scary because this was a playoff team that won a game in the playoffs. And it's just, it's as a fan, not just a guy who talks about sports and covers it and whatnot, but just sitting down as a fan and looking at it, I'm not used to this. It's like you said, I'm not used to going, oh shit, this is
another good move.
Yeah.
And another one. And another one.
Yeah. And even like some of
the draft.
Yeah, and this is all before the draft. And even some of the moves that they've made, like the Jeff Okudah move, you're like, okay, but the ceiling on that kid, you're just like, man. I mean, Nick Caserio has been, I mean, it's and it's just been so impressive. And when he first got here, Jerome, I'll admit, I was just like, no, here we go again with this Patriots of the South bullshit. South. Yeah, and I'm just like, I don't, just get rid of him and O'Brien and Easterby and get out of here. And I don't know what Cal and Hannah, but whatever plan they had, they got rid of the folks they were supposed to get rid of, and they brought in the guys that they were supposed to bring in. And holy shit, it has just been absolutely amazing, the transformation that this franchise has had in the span of a year. I've never seen anything like it.
I was never as crazy or dogging the Patriots South thing as most were, but I understand why they were. I wasn't, because Patriots South wouldn't be a bad thing. Bill O'Brien's South was a bad thing. Bill O'Brien wasn't the Patriots. He had jack shit to do with the Patriots' success.
Yeah,
Patriots had done everything they did before he got there. He didn't teach them shit. He was just there. You understand?
Yeah.
So he wasn't from that culture. He wasn't part of that culture, etc. And then there were so many other bad examples of, try to take what the Patriots did and make something of it. Well, okay. I love Romeo.
Sorry, it was just I just got to follow. That's all that is. Sorry.
Okay. Cool. No problem. But like some of the coaches, like Charlie Weiss. Was he all Patriots, or did he just work for Belichick for 3 years?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm serious. Like Romeo Crennel, love Romeo. I think Romeo's been a good coach and done a lot of great things. But as far as the Patriots, he worked for Belichick for like 3 years with the Patriots. Then got a head coaching job and moved on. And on and on. Now, and there were failures of guys who coached the Patriots and then went somewhere else. They usually went to bad teams, and they were not that good. The Patriots being so good was about Bill Belichick, period.
And Brady.
And and Tom Brady. So if you took Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, you could put them on any team in the country, and they'd been a hell of a damn team. It wasn't because they were in New England and Boston. Caserio was an interesting case because he'd been there for 20 years, longer than anybody else who moved on to somewhere else. But he learned enough, I think, there to put it somewhere else. Except when he got here, he was being an idiot too.
Yeah.
He hired the first coach he hired. Dude, that's not Patriot life. And the thing is, he had never hired a head coach in his life.
Yeah,
he'd never been a part of a head coach search. He never been in charge of one, obviously, but he'd never been a part of one.
Yeah,
Caserio got hired the Patriots. Belichick was there, and Belichick was there when he left. So he doesn't know how the hell I hire a head coach. Clearly, he hired David Cutley and then Romeo Crennel, And
Lovie Smith.
I won't say
Yeah.
he got lucky with D'Amico Ryans, but he realized that was a good decision. But I think anybody with, any kind of brain would realize that D'Amico would be a good coaching hire. He was
Yeah.
that good. He jumped off the table. You didn't have you don't have to be Popovich to know. I think I'm gonna draft this Wembayama guy.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
Wembayama guy seems to have a little something.
He might be okay. Yeah.
It might be okay.
I tell you what,
But-
he is. Go ahead.
But I was gonna say, but I will say he's done fairly well in draft. He's always been good at finding veterans and free agents who can come in and fit in and play. But they moved into a whole different level now. And I love D'Amico runs. I think D'Amico is the difference maker across the board. But I'm not gonna diminish Casario's mix in this. In that he's learned what he's learned, and
Yeah.
he's shown you that he's smart enough to put it into play.
Dog's getting angry. Your dog is.
I'm trying to get a white man to crib. My little black. I'm trying to get a white man to crib. My little black dog was like, no. That's Nico, man. That's Nico.
He sees a white man on the screen. He's like, that's hilarious. He's growling at the white man. He's like, get your hands on my. Oh, that's hilarious. All right, well, you know what? It's funny because a couple of folks in the chat brought this up about Stefon, and then I know you got to bounce, but they were like, well,
Okay.
The problem is we talked about the age thing, and I'm not worried about that. They were talking about attitude, and I'm like, look, that a diva wide receiver is nothing new in the NFL, and if there was ever anybody equipped to handle it, D'Amico Ryans is the guy, right? And the example I use is, if you were gonna send a diva wide receiver to a team, let's say that they were going to Pittsburgh, you wouldn't be worried about a Stefon Diggs going and being under Mike Tomlin. This is the same kind of scenario in my mind. What say you?
Right. Yeah, there's a point there without question. That there's some race involved in that, even though you don't mean it to be. I know, because you're like, oh, put him with a hardcore black coach. He can handle him.
No, I'm saying put him with a guy that gets along with anybody.
That's what I said. You didn't mean it like that, but that's what they're saying. Like, if you got a wild wide receiver, that's why you picked out Tomlin, and but that's true.
First of all, I stand for Mike Tomlin. That's my dude. I love. It's my favorite coach.
I know, but Tomlin is better equipped to handle an AJ Brown. Brown.
I'm not racist, dog.
I didn't say you were.
No,
Did
I'm talking to the dog. He said the dog's like, you racist. I'm not. That's not what I meant.
Dog, get a little testy. Get a little testy.
The dog, you see?
I know he's a white man. Don't worry about it. We're good. He good white people. He good white folks.
He's one of the good ones.
But,
I'm gonna come to the cookout. The dog's gonna attack me.
I think the bigger underlying thing though is one, he respects the quarterback, so he's talked to Stroud and has a feel for that, and yeah, the head coach matters a lot in these kind of situations. The funny thing is, it's not like he hasn't gotten targets and balls and yards and catches, et cetera. That's just who he is in a way. He has a little bit of an edge and an attitude, and he's going to bring that. But it doesn't bring down the team. The coach is in charge. You know what's going on, and you get the best out of a player that you can get from him, regardless of what his own individual attitude is. But if he's happy with where he is, and Buffalo too, that's a little tougher place than in Houston, without question.
The cold.
That's not a race. That's the weather thing. That's a temperature thing.
Man,
But,
I mean, he's going from that to playing indoors, eight games a year on the, at home at least, and that's got to be.
But I'm not even mad at people who are like, well, this guy's been kind of an ass wherever he's been. So yeah, he has been.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
doesn't mean he hasn't played winning football.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't mean he hasn't contributed to victories. And so you get the wins out of him, you get the best play out of him, and you deal with that. And if he's a problem, he's not so much of a problem. They can't let his ass go. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
I pulled
They
up the
they cut him next week, and we'd go, it was a good shot. You know, you
yeah,
lose a
and
second
again,
round pick
especially
next
for
year.
what they gave up for him, a
I wouldn't
second, a
even be
fifth,
tripping.
and a sixth, I would be like, you know what? It was absolutely worth the gamble, 1,000%. I don't hate it at all. And I looked at the contract details on Spot Track, and they have an out in 2025. So you're at worst,
No, he's only getting paid this year.
yeah, at worst, you're gambling for 2024. And what did that cost you? A second round pick that you got from Minnesota. That's it.
Yeah,
That's what this whole gamble is. I love it. Like it's totally worth it.
I don't have a problem with that in that sense. But I do know that there are plenty of times where a guy has a bad reputation, and then he lands somewhere, and he's more mature. He's 30 years old now. He knows he only has 3, 4, 5 good years in him. This is a chance for him to make a run, and his attitude changes, or he's playing for the right guy that puts it out. I can't project that for him. You know, I just hope that he delivers, but I also know that if he doesn't, D'Amico ain't gonna put up with it. D'Amico's not gonna let him get away with whatever
No.
he may have.
D'Amico's not going to let anybody come in and destroy the culture of this team that he's built in one
done.
year.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Tomlin put up with Brown for a good while because he was delivering and helping them win.
And that's exactly also why I used the
I can't
example.
use you no more, dog.
But that's why I used the
you.
example, because he had one. He had that diva, and he's a player's coach. He's just a guy that, you know, players would run through a wall for, but he's got that temperament and that personality that he keeps the stuff in the locker room. Remember when who was it who was it that filmed something and put it out there? And
I can't.
And again,
but
all that was kept inside. That's the kind of guy that Tomlin is, and he handles it all beautifully. And so a guy like Stefon Diggs, that wouldn't be a problem at all.
We only have 1 year of D'Amico in this, but from everything, from all the players around, we hear about people that want to play for him because they know who he is and what he's about. And without question, I've known him for 15 plus years now. He's a no nonsense guy. So if you don't fit in, you got to get out. It's not that complicated. So that's the least of my worries. Right below that on my least worry thing is he hadn't delivered in the playoffs. That's always overblown.
Yeah.
The playoffs are one game here, one game there. You don't know what's going on. This last playoff game, 2 games, he didn't do much. Well, they played in like 2 degrees in one game. And they led 21-0 or whatever in that game. So no, they weren't in a whole lot of passing going on. And next game they played in like 15 degrees, and they had a lead in the fourth quarter. And he hadn't. If they'd won the game, we wouldn't be saying where was he, you know, kind of thing. If you don't sit and watch that game to break it, now he may have played terrible. I'm not saying he wasn't. All I'm saying is, if you don't go back and watch the game and really break it down, we don't know if it.
I know he had a big drop.
Yeah.
I know he had a huge drop, but
the drop. But you know that happens to people. There's no excuse for that. Yeah, exactly.
But at the end of the day, if one drop does not make a season, you know what I mean? Doesn't make a game.
There's
like you said, if you have a 21-point lead, how about your defense holds up a 21-point lead? Then it doesn't come down to a drop. So
I guess the key is he didn't win or lose a game for him.
Right.
Now,
right.
You want a superstar wide receiver to win some games for you. And he's done that during the regular season. Hasn't done it as much in the playoffs. Has done it a couple times in the playoffs, don't get me wrong. But not as much as you would like. But the Texans aren't sitting here signing him going, what are you going to do in the playoffs to win me a game? No, dude.
Yeah. They're just
there's a whole lot of football to be played before they get there. And it's C.J. Stroud's job to win games in the playoffs, not the receiver they trade a future second draft pick for.
I'm going to tell you, man, the ceiling is the roof, to quote the great Michael Jordan, for this team. If this team can go from what they were to what they are, in one season with that offseason of just adding CJ Stroud and really Dalton Schultz and Tank Dell and Will Anderson Jr. Man, when you look at that list of free agents, Diggs and Hunter and Mixon and Autry and Okudah and Henderson, and hey, don't sleep on Tommy Townsend. That's your MVP punter right there. No, just
hey man, no, it's really impressive, and it's hard for most of us to go, man. The Texans are doing smart things over and over and over again, but they really are.
Yeah.
How it'll pan out, who knows? But if I'm a Texans fan right now, I'm excited as I've ever been. I mean, they really are just that they've had a couple of what I think were championship caliber teams. Mm-hmm. But the difference in those teams and this one is those teams didn't have a superstar level quarterback. This one does. And those teams were almost maxed out, where this one is on the come.
It's just getting,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think 2011 and 12, those teams were better than this team is today.
Right. But but those teams were like, they need to win today, where this team is like, as good as we think they are right now, if they do what we thinking they're capable, not what we thinking they're what they are capable of doing, imagine how good they'll be in December. And dude, the smart thing is that the way that Nick Caserio has done this is that he's gone out and got the veteran. It reminds me a little bit of what the Astros did along their rebuild, right? As they got better and realized, oh snap, we've got Correa and Altuve. Let's add a Beltran. Let's add a Brian McCann behind the plate for leadership for this young pitching staff with Keuchel and guys. And they started adding these veterans, and then they started adding boom, Verlander. And then, you know what I mean? And that's the Daniil Hunters and the Stefon Diggs. And then the next thing you know, that just made everybody on the team better. And it just became this snowball. And that's kind of what this team is doing. Is you looked up and CJ Stroud and Tank Dell and Will Anderson Jr. is your Correa and Altuve and Bregman. And you're going, oh shit, we need to get some veterans in here. And there you go. You know what I mean? Like it's.
Yeah, because you could have gone on and got Stefon Diggs last year.
Yeah.
And it would have been great. It would have been great for CJ Stroud. It would have been great for the team, et cetera. He'd been but it's better now because now you allowed Nico Collins to show you what he can do, and you got Tank Dell who did what he can do, et cetera. Now you're adding him in as opposed to needing him. They don't need Stefon Diggs.
No.
But they can damn sure use him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And now Nico has confidence. It's a whole different feel on this team. So it's very exciting, man. Well, dude, I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you had a lot of shit going on. And I appreciate you taking the time to do this. We used to do it all the time. It's a hell of a lot of fun. So I appreciate you.
No problem, man.
Carving out some time.
My schedule is lightening up these days. So
what's that?
My schedule is lightening up these days. So maybe do this more often.
Same indeed, man. All right, that is Jerome Solomon. Make sure you check him out on Twitter as Jerome Solomon. Appreciate you, buddy. We'll talk. All right, that is Jerome Solomon. Everybody go follow him on Twitter. Read his articles, all the good stuff. Always good to have Jerome on the show. That's a good question, B. Hannon. I didn't even ask. I guess I should find out, shouldn't I? I don't even know. I gotta check with him. I'll text. I'll let you know tomorrow on the show. Will we be having a game on? I have no idea. Titan said like how everyone's sleeping on the Titans like they're sitting around doing nothing. I don't know if I would say the Titans are having quite the same kind of off season that the Texans are having. Quite frankly, Titan Hugo, and I'm not saying this as a Texans fan, I'm saying this as a neutral observer, which I tend to try to speak from. The Texans, quite frankly, have had the best offseason of any team in the NFL. I challenge you to present me with a better team. And I'm happy to listen to arguments. Present your case, sir. Titan Hugo, present your case, sir. We should have like a court. We should have a court. Hey, Joe Bro, I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you, sir. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. I think the guest is, D-Mata said, take video of you mowing your lawn and post it on YouTube. No, D-Mata, but I love you to death, buddy. That's Nate said, that was a pretty good show. JK, great job. Hey, appreciate you, Nate. Thanks for stopping in. Alex Villanueva, I appreciate you, man. Thank you, sir. Thank you, D-Mata. Thank you, Amos. Amos said, go let them dogs out before they bite you. Yeah, no shit. Oh, racist ass dog. He's like, is that a white man on the screen? Racist ass dog. Thank you, Uriel. Thank you, Joel. Appreciate you, Mr. Hernandez. B. Hannon, good to see you, Flip. Thank you, my friend. All right, Ian, good to see you, buddy. Thanks to everybody that tuned in. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Last show of the week. Man, we didn't get to the oldest soccer ball in the world. We didn't get to every Final Four logo. Damn it, we're doing that this week. I promise. We can save the history of top 10 quarterbacks. We can, as we get closer to the draft, we can do that. We got to do Final Four logos. Gots to. I still got a whole bunch of shit, actually. We'll get to it all. Hey, enjoy your night. I'll see you tomorrow. I promise I won't be as late. And do me 3 favors before I see you tomorrow. Be safe, be kind, and most importantly, love each other. See y'all tomorrow, guys. And he's making a YouTube